Hello. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Oh, what's up? I'm here now. Hey, you guys can hear me. I can see everything. Yeah. So we're going to be breaking down like that today. So anybody who's here who isn't isn't a musician or doesn't know much about production, don't you worry, because we're going to start a bit more generalized and a bit more, I guess, emotive in terms of what we'll be talking about. So I'll be talking about the intention behind things and how it kind of came together. And then as the stream progresses, it'll get more and more techie. So I guess you're welcome to stay for the whole thing, of course. But yeah, I'm going to do my best for the beginning to just talk about the track as opposed to the techniques, the little techniques, because there are a lot. But yeah, it's into two parts. So let's open up the final project. Let me just get this dashboard sorted out. Go to dashboard, recent events, pop out. Come on, you can load. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, there we go. Nice. Okay, so do you guys want me to play through the track? Would that be a good thing to do, or are you all familiar enough with it? Let's see what you say real quick while I resize this window. Yeah, play through it in the project file. Yeah, I guess it's a good idea to see if it runs anyway. So it may sound a little bit different because this isn't the master. All right, so actually first, let's start here. I just realized I threw this in here earlier just because I thought it would be an interesting little expedition. First thing first is to play the very, very first export of Like That. It sounded like this. So this is the very, very first time that like that existed. So this was June last year, I believe. So it's actually not that long before Liquidity. It sounded like this. There are things about this version I like more, which is sad. Yeah, there's things about that are cool, but okay. So here, let's play through the track, and it might give me some ideas on what to talk about.
Born slippy, so look busy. Young's come back, got the keys to the city. I'm knee jerking, black coffee slurping. We're all screwed up, but the world still.
It's better without the gold fuss on it.
My demons, I fist bump Jesus. I thank Poseidon for a sweet surf season. When I arrive, it won't be pretty. From Moscow to the great Mississippi. So I reckon in 21.
So this is actually how it sounded in Project. It's a little bit more aggressive, actually. It's kind of harder to listen to. A bit, you know? Yeah, this track's chock full of references. We'll talk about the lyrics today because it's one of those ones that I feel okay talking about the lyrics on. Oh! I forgot I did that. So, yeah.
Wizards, Hollywood blizzards, cheating in cards with Illuminati lizards.
Stream, that's kind of quiet. There you go. That should be better.
They know my name cause nobody does it better, yeah. It's strange, but I don't mind. I drive off the edge of the earth to kill time. The storm's coming, you better get running. Wherever I am, I'm starting up something. I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing.
Yo, Corrupted Pixel, I hope you're okay. Holy shit.
Paid my price,
it's mad.
But learned no lesson. So cold, my
hey, thank you, Troll.
So weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold. Heart of gold, no, I do it like that. Like that.
There's no point watermarking this track at this point, but I still feel the need to.
Like that.
Hey, Icety, thank you so much. Oh, that distorted there, didn't it?
Your battles and make them mean something. Sing great songs, keep that heartbeat bumping. When all else fails and you can't let go, a tinfoil hat does more than you know. so cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know.
This is going to sound pretty different, I think, if I remember correctly. I did a lot of master work on this.
I do it like that. Like that.
Yeah, a little less exciting.
Like that. I do it like that. Like that. My price, but learn no lesson. Like that.
Is that just going to cut at the wrong moment?
I do it like.
That's really unsettling. Okay, so let's first talk about that Instagram post that this all kind of started from. I will say it's a little. People seem to have misunderstood it a little. I was working on this a little bit already, and I saw that thing, and I was like, well, I'm just going to embrace that human music thing. And it wasn't even a fuck you to that guy. It was just like, it was funny because it was like, I was working on something that sounded like that at the time, and to a degree, he's kind of right. Like some of my melodies are just kind of like da 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 da, and just like two notes, just like, and that's fine. Like, what's a really good mix in voice chat? What's that? What are you talking about? But yeah, so yeah, that's the track. So I guess it all. I don't know really where to start. Tell us about the Hoover sound and the third drop. We're not getting techie yet. We're going to get techie in about, I don't know how long, but we're going to talk about the general idea of the track. So I definitely was going for a kind of lo-fi sort of approach, like a lot of the guitar kind of leads. Like to me, I always thought this track kind of sounded. Oh, this is pre-sidechained? Okay, maybe this isn't the project file to be doing this in.
Born slippy, so look busy. Young scumbag got the keys.
So yeah, let's talk about the lyrics. Like a few people seem to be like questioning. Like I saw one guy on my Facebook post who was like, "Yo, are you referencing Pizzagate?" And I was like, "No." So actually, the original like inspiration on the lyrics for this, it's a lot more specific and a lot more what's the word? Intended in this song. Like the actual inspiration for the lyrics came from a Stephen King book. I'm explaining the lyrics because this one's like specific and it's not so like open-ended. I mean, it's really open-ended in a way, but yeah. The initial inspiration anyway, I don't think I'll talk about like line by line. But yeah, it came from a Stephen King book. There's a Stephen King character called Randall Flagg. He's from a book called The Stand, and I think he's been in a couple other ones. And he's like a character in the book who's like this kind of unnamed, technically unnamed, like he calls himself Randall Flagg, but it's not supposed to be his name. It's a whole fucking thing. And he just kind of, how do I explain this? Shit. He's like this force of chaos and evil, kind of goes from place to place and plays both sides. So like he'll like stir up all the white nationalists at the same time as stirring up the opposite of that to kind of create conflict and chaos, and that's kind of his shtick. And I didn't want to do a song completely from that point of view, but I kind of like the idea of this sort of I guess otherworldly person or thing that is just going through and it kind of has a backstage pass on reality and kind of knows the gods and but like kind of just fucks with people to make them do shit. And it didn't come to that place when it came to writing it, because this was a lot more like conceptualized ahead of it than usual for me. But yeah, I liked the idea of this guy. He knows to thank Poseidon for some choice waves and shit, like and like, you know, Jesus and shit. Like I guess you could argue it's a bit Neil Gaiman-y as well, but yeah. Thank you for the amazing song. It's really addictive. The only problem is that it's too short. Listen to it twice. But yeah, that was generally the initial idea behind it, and yeah, that's it. Just someone like this thing or person or yeah, demigod or whatever you want to call it, like just making his way through the world, just kind of like doing shit like driving off. The second verse was supposed to have a lyric about driving off the edge of the universe to buy donuts because that's where the best donuts are, but I couldn't get it right. So just kind of like just bullshit.
Born slippy, so busy, young scumbag, got the...
So I think this track. Let's mute the vocals for a moment. There's a breaths channel. Charlie Lima Music, thank you very much for the Prime subscription. Okay, I forgot I did that. So that was just a case of me deliberately making the breaths quieter after a compression. But we're not getting techie right now. So the idea behind this is I wanted to kind of have a sort of 70s-ish, sort of maybe, 70s, 60s kind of like lo-fi-ish tone. Like that, ask me. I breathe like that. So all of these things are deliberately supporting the vocal. There's nothing really that featureful here. And you might notice that actually it's all a bit dark. Like there's not a lot of high end in this section. And look at that. Like I've had to boost the high end on this track anyway, but yeah, that's the general idea. So for those who don't know, 21 seconds from now is the drop. If there's anything you guys want to know about in particular, I'm happy to answer questions, by the way. So yeah. The snare, you like the snare? Yeah. So that's one thing. All the drum hits in this track are like really not drum and bassy snares, like and kicks, which is why I guess JD Barspin is asking me if there's a drum and bass remix. I would argue this track is already drum and bass, but I was very intentionally using drum hits that are not very drum and bassy. So like, get just the drop. Yeah. Where'd you get your funky ass wardrobe, my dude? Various. It's kind of hard to say. This was from like a thrift store in New York. The thing that was made in Serum. I'll get to all that stuff later. There's another project file that's like all the things. This is kind of like the final project file where I put everything together. So yeah, the drop is pretty much only a couple elements. You got the. What's my favorite thing about the track? There's a couple things that are my favorite about the track, but like my favorite little moment has got to be, I think it's this bit.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price, but learned no.
Oh, he's doing the shouts here, yeah. So
paid my price, but learned no lesson. So
I don't know where the yeah is, but there's a yeah in there somewhere. Can I go through the verse element by element? Yeah, let's go through element by element. Generally, this isn't gonna be too easy in this project file because I've like bounced stuff down. So here are both the guitars together. So that's a so that's a one note low E on the guitar. Probably just a kick and bass. Yeah. What else we got? I think it's just that. Oh, we've got the cool like Bollywood style tablas. Hey, Omni Crash, thank you. Honk if you stonk. Is the guitar a plugin? No, it's recorded by me. I did all the guitars on this one, I think. And then yeah. Then the next elements to come in is like a pre-shadowing, and this is something that a lot of people do, myself included, where you deliberately bring in like the most main element, not that one, like ahead of it coming in. So it's got in the verse. So that by the time the melody comes in, if it's your first time hearing it, you know it already because you've heard it. So yeah. So yeah, that's that, and then we have like this kind of. I always thought this thing sounded really badass. Chances are, if I was being really decisive, I would probably have muted that. But I really wanted it in the track because I liked it. That's like honeymooning that sound. Like, doesn't need to be there. The vocal would take up all that space.
Even when I arrive, it won't be pretty.
But yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, the guitar, it was literally just direct in, and I think I used guitar rig and then just like, processed it until I liked it. I don't know if I'd agree with that though, necessarily, Arcane Beats. I don't think you need a whole 20 seconds to build up. I think you need some time to build up, or you at least need to signpost when something's coming. I mean, like, all of that stuff's kind of obvious in this track, I think. So, like, for those who aren't used to music production, a lot of the time when we're making something like this, we'll have all of the elements kind of build to a head underneath, like, the main musical elements, and it sounds something like this. So you got these risers, and that's something that we employ all the time to kind of like, oh shit, it's coming, kind of shit. Something I do a lot with these is I'll deliberately have a snare or an element just like keeping regular, so that it's not gonna, so you're not gonna completely lose people. Some people like to lose people. I know that Camo and Crooked deliberately make their build-ups kind of go to a place where you kind of lose the one, and then it comes in and it releases you. I don't like that personally for my stuff, but when they do it, it's really sick. Right now I'm using Logic. There's been a big Logic update, and I still haven't decided whether I like it or not. Yeah, so other elements. Oh, shit. So let's look at the vocals and the harmonies. So let's take away the lead line and just listen to what goes in the background of the vocals.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul. So weighed down by the things that I know. All told, I got to.
So that's what sits underneath the lead, which sounds like this.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens.
Very deliberate slapback delay, because I still wanted to kind of have that sort of lo-fi sort of sound, or like at least throwing back to like Elvis and all those sort of things. It's got that kind of like dusty guitar sound, all that sort of stuff. It's kind of like, it's a bit fetishized vintage in places, I think, the choices on here. But yeah, so on the vocal, I believe this is a dry vocal. Let's see. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. So is this a dry vocal?
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens.
I think it's just compressed.
Still second guessing. Paid my price, but
and that's on another channel, that bit.
So cold, my heavyweight soul. So
yeah, that's about right. I think it might be slightly processed before that, but whatever. And then so I'm soothing it slightly. So what Soothe does is it gets rid of nasty frequencies that are going to be painful to listen to. Wow, I've really soothed it more than usual. Cool. Compressed again. Then gate. Oh no, that gate isn't a thing. That's not a thing. Then that. EQ, and then the slapback sort of thing. I used a dimension expander for that, but I wouldn't do that nowadays, I don't think. I've got a better way of doing that now. So yeah, deliberately I with vocals especially Zerk. So Zerk is asking, do I turn everything into audio and then work on it later? Yes, I always do that, but that's not for the vocals. I'll do them again. Put Soothe in the Ableton Stream thing. No, because then my voice would be delayed because it's got quite a lot of latency too. It's not a 4-day-old tune. This mixdown's about 3 months old or so, something like that. But yeah, What was I saying? Yeah, I do turn everything into audio. When it comes to vocals, I kind of record early vocals and then middle vocals and then vocals at the end. And so like maybe some elements from the first vocal pass will stay and maybe some from the middle, but generally I try and bring all the vocals together at the end and re-record the best one possible. So using parts of the first ones and the last one, that's usually how it goes. Yeah, I do turn everything into audio because you can be more accurate with a lot of things with audio. And also, like, I'll render a lot of the effects on the synths and stuff to it, so it just becomes a sound, like a recorded sound that you can then place how you want it to, and you're kind of you've made the decision that that's how that sound has to sound. So how does it fit? And it really helps me get my mix downs a lot better. And I think you guys saw that if you watched my my outbreak remix stream, where I made a track that sounded okay, and then I think in the mix down process it started sounding better, and then in the mastering you can really get those things to pop because you're intimately familiar with all those elements and how they work. And yeah. The tinfoil hat? No, that's all me. There's no one else in this song. Sometimes I like to do that. So, vocal.
I reckon in 21
double.
seconds.
So that's about 4 of me. So 2 in each ear. So like singing the chorus over myself. Very auto-tuned. So that it's like a safe bed. So that this vocal, which is probably not pitched much at all. Maybe to be sure there will be some of it. This one, just because if you have a little wobble but the energy is good. I'd rather have good energy than just a well-pitched take. Yeah, I know. I realized the pointing. But yeah, so heavily auto-tuned doubles. They are bounced down. What I will have done is I'll have taken some top end off those so that you don't hear the S's. So you don't hear the S's too much over the main one. So
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to.
So what it does is it supports my voice and makes it feel big. And I deliberately don't do that in the verse so that it feels like I've given another layer of power to the vocal without actually singing any different. One good way to do that is if you produce your vocals over a very blank project file. Like, I'll show you that actually. There's a cool vocal project file somewhere, and I'll try and find it in a bit. But yeah, so we've got a lower octave. I'm pretty sure I didn't sing the lower octave on this one.
I reckon in 21 seconds.
Yeah, so that's thing. Okay, I couldn't tell you how many luffs I have on this track. No idea. I don't care. So that's on the bottom, so those all together goes like this.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to.
Are the layers different takes? Yes, absolutely. So this double is 4 takes. So 4 different takes of me singing over it. So but a take is me singing it basically. So it's 4 times I sung the thing. So total between this and oh god, Logic keeps doing this since the update. It's really horrible, and I don't know why it keeps like moving the look at that. I click on that, and it just goes up top. And they need to patch that, man. So yeah, total between this and this is I believe 5. And then like, so this lower octave will have been the lead pitched down. The upper ones, I'm pretty sure I sang really high.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing, paid my price.
So yeah, that's me singing very high.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens.
But it matters. It needs to be there. This is recorded high. I can sing that high. I actually the other day did the highest note I've ever done in a lead line for a track, but that's not. I don't know if that track's even going to get done yet. And then we have the vocoder.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing, paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know, and all told.
And then the other one that's kind of cool is this. This is probably, I think this is 2 different takes of the same thing going either way.
So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know. all told, I got too bold. Heart of gold, no.
That change, that down low one was really hard to go from. Like you can hear how much energy I lose, like trying to make sure I pitch that right.
Things that I know, all told,
like-
I got too bold. Heart of gold.
Just it was that took me a few times. I remember that now. So yeah, actually, chances are, if you took away the vocoder and just did like the doubles, the higher ones, and the lead, it would sound pretty cool.
So cold, my heavyweight soul. So
Much rockier, I guess.
cold, my heavyweight soul.
So the vocoders, I use loads of them. There's Orange vocoder, there's Melda vocoder, there's MDA Talkbox, there's what's it fucking called? Manipulator by I can't remember who that's by. But yeah, there's loads of them. Loads of them. Yeah. What we got here? So the way that we get the kick and the snare to live together, I mean the kick and the bass to live together is really cool. I saturated the kick with the sub into the same saturator and just pushed them, squashed them together. There's actually no side chain between those two. High Five is already on Splice. There's like the project file for High Five is the project file for High Five is fuck, what am I trying to say? Is on Splice for you to have a play with.
Space wizards, Hollywood.
Same vibes.
Cheating and cards with
So one thing that I did do into this second verse that I think people don't notice when they first hear the song or when they just listen to it is I added a new guitar sound that's so if we listen to this. Well, that's the first verse. Second verse. Kind of makes it feel a bit spacier, and I kind of liked that sort of change, because if you do listen to, let me mute the vocals again. If you do listen to the first verse into the second verse, and go here, start adding more. Yeah. I'll show you guys how the lead and the pluck and everything work in a little bit once we finish kind of going through and talking about the rough idea of the track. Changes everything up and adds more power, but but it has to be subtle. The changes here are subtle. Like it's just a bit spacier. You could get away with just adding a pad. The two things I know that I added, and I don't think I added anything more, was that and this. Whoa. Why is the guitar in the synth channel? From the beginning to kind of like tie you back this thing. That thing. Yeah, I'm on the new Logic update. It keeps moving the window and it freaks me out. So yeah, the tops are back, the little... I remember I frequency shifted the, or maybe pitched the tabla loop so that noise is in key. The things I originally added that decided to remove, we'll probably find that out in the next project file, which is kind of like the original project file. So you got that. Synths come in, what's that? Oh, it's like organy kind of thing. I forgot about the sine waves. And that's just there to support that vocal change, because it's a little different to the original bit.
the storm's coming, you better get running. Wherever I am, I'm starting up
Right.
something.
Then back down to pretty much exactly the same. The only difference.
To blow this thing straight
Actually,
to heaven.
this is a cool arrangement tip.
Paid my price,
so-
but learned no lesson.
So that first half of the chorus is exactly the same. However, the build-up part. Come on, Logic. The build-up part actually has a very different thing. So the first time around, lesson. So this is like kicks on the floor. But now that you know the drop, in this second one, you can kind of go to the drop early. The bass is... It's the same as the drop that's coming, so it feels like it's kind of already there, which is kind of cool.
Do it like that. like that. I do it like that.
Yeah. Do I ever get... Okay, so yes, I do get attached to sounds. Yeah, the no 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 thing that I was showing you earlier. Where is it? This one. I got really attached to this sound. It doesn't need to be in this track for this, but I really wanted it to be in there. And sometimes you have to give yourself those little treats to keep yourself sane when working on a mixdown. But I probably shouldn't. Okay, so I saw someone ask for the "If There Are Better Days" bit. So
I choose your battle.
that's over here. So it's really chorused, really auto-tuned, because it's supposed to be kind of like a background melody. So I almost wanted it to feel a little bit like a synth. I'll show you guys how the non-sidechain thing works later on, because it's totally part of how this track works in a techie way, and I'm totally down to show you guys it. It's a good thing for hip-hop, actually, but so that's underneath.
You gotta choose your battles and make them.
Yeah, that's the bridge.
Fails and you can't let go. A tinfoil hat does more than you know. Choose your battles and make them mean so cold. My heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the
Who does those shouts? That's me. That's me.
Tinfoil hat does more than you know. Tinfoil hat.
Yeah. How did I come up with the melody? Okay, so that's the hardest part for me to explain about making music, because I genuinely maybe you set yourself some criteria of what you want your melody to be like, but I generally just kind of listen out for what I want to add. I've got the blank track, as in I have this playing at me. Actually, I didn't have this playing at me. We'll do this in a moment, actually. And generally, my tip for melodies is just try your best to think of what you wish was in the track and then add it. And that's how I work for everything. Yeah. So the last drop, which we're about to get to right now. So yeah, all this is the same.
So cold, my heavyweight soul.
This is all the same. Okay, so the last drop sounds like this.
Like that. Like that.
So pretty much everything's changed into this drop. So there's let's listen to the drums themselves. I'm pretty sure the drums are separate on this. Oh, come on. But there's some think break in there. Snares are down here. So one thing, actually, this is a really techie little thing that I kind of do want to talk about. This track is very off-grid. Like if we go over to the lead, and this will explain something about actually what made this last drop really hard to make. Where is it? The lead on the drop is over. This is a terribly organized project file. So yeah, the drop lead. I want you to see how off grid. So that's not on the offbeat 8. That's not on the onbeat 1. So like if we put this over a metronome, really off grid. And like by the time you get to that, what your brain kind of wants is let me mute this. It wants it to go like that, right? But it doesn't. It's way later. And that's why the drop works. If we put this completely on grid, it would sound shit.
Like that.
Now that you know it's like that and you hear a metronome over it,
Like that.
it sounds fine. It sounds fucking weird. But like let's put it back to roughly where it should be. So this is gonna be so weird to hear. This is how it would be if it was roughly on grid.
Oh, no, I do it like that.
Oh, it's muted or it's on the wrong channel. What did I do? I moved it all the way up there because don't know how I did that actually. I'll be honest.
I do it like that.
How much more boring is that? How boring is that? Rhythm is everything.
Like that.
Oh God, I hate it. I hate it so much. So rhythm placement is really important. But the thing is, so that was obviously a big part of how the track has come together. A big part of how that track has come to this track came to be, and is like, you know, one of the main statements that this track makes. But for the drop, I need to start adding more things. It can't be, for the last drop, it can't be so minimal. So, you know, we've got this, which is 16ths. So I ended up having to do this weird thing where the rhythm was halfway in between being on grid and off grid, which I guess technically is still off grid. But like I moved some hits, like the actual rhythm of the drop of the lead in the drop is kind of different. It's like almost completely on grid, which is a big change that no one really notices. But yeah, so to make it bigger, what I ended up doing is layering the main lead with a load of cool stuff, like mallets. So this is why I work in audio at the end too, is slicing these things out for space on the for the vocal and for the bass sound. So like
that. I do it like that. Like that.
Just to let the vocal come forward. It's like you could sidechain it, but it would be a really horrible setup. Yeah, indeed. Hilly, thank you for the Prime subscription. I really appreciate it. Hillia? I think that's what it is. So yeah, I got all this. And there's also, for the kind of build-up, we have this really cool thing that I wish I could have made louder, but didn't make sense. And then like that. That's how it ends. So that like builds you up to this last place. And like, now that you've heard that, you'll hear that it's totally like, it's there. Yeah. So that's how we made the last drop more and more epic. Hey, no worries, Bilal. Good luck with the score. That sounds sick. What I think is a good direction after your production degree, making as much sick music as you can. Just being as fucking good at what you want to do as you can be. The bass sounds different in this as well. It's like... It's actually the same bass from Cavalier. I forgot that. God, that's way cooler than I remember it being. What's that? Fucking hell. Fun fact, my first time hearing like that was in Amsterdam, where I VO'd 1, 2, 3, 4, and I hear you doing that every single time. It's a curse and a blessing. Okay, well, next time you see me live, I can guarantee that's definitely going to happen. We'll be breaking down the patches from most of these sounds later on. Yeah, we're going to get gradually more and more technical as this goes on, because I want anybody who listens to my music but obviously isn't a producer and is just a music listener to be able to enjoy this particular stream anyway. Like, I know that I get kind of techie all the time, and this hasn't come from someone complaining or anything. I just want to be inclusive. So yeah, all these things come together to make the thing. Let's play it without the lead. So like, the lead is obviously incredibly important. By lead, I mean like shit.
I do it like that.
Deliberately putting the
Paid my price, but learned no lesson.
over the top to just kind of, I don't know why, but it feels like it has made it all kind of, it makes to me anyway, it makes that first chorus feel like a distant memory, which makes it feel like you've kind of journeyed a really long way throughout the course of the track. And especially with the ending being so different. Thank you, Akari Project. I appreciate it. Yeah, especially with how many how different the last drop is, it makes you feel like you've come to some kind of conclusion for me. And I think that's cool. I think that's really cool. So, what else is there to talk about here? 213 tracks, yeah, but generally speaking, there's quite a lot of duplicating of tracks to kind of like just put a different EQ on it. And I think, actually, I delete unused tracks. We've lost almost 20 already. Yeah. And like, look, there's two different versions of the snare. I imagine one of those is LFO tooled, yeah. And that one is just, yeah. So, is there anything else interesting and cool that's in here that maybe would be interesting to people? I don't think there is really. I feel like a lot of things are up front. Yeah, I think that's the kick bass. Yeah, no, we'll talk about that later. That's tech shit. That's techie shit. There's some shouts and stuff, some funny like vocal chops and stuff in the drop that I don't think people hear. They were there very heavily on the very first version, but like once you start adding the like that thing, it's like, yeah.
Nope.
That's it. Let me put that in context without the lead.
Nope.
You get the idea. Rhythm change in 0.50. What's that? Let's answer that as a question. 50. Oh,
like that.
The kicks. So this point, right? So
Things that I know, and all told, I got too bold.
oh wait, no, that's 150. So one. Yeah, we're talking about here, right?
And all told, I got too.
Which rhythm change are you referring to? Where's that? Croqueta. I see a lot of people asking about the kick and bass thing. I will get down to that. That'll be the first thing we do when we start talking about tech. Don't worry. Can you hear Better Days to Come without auto-tune? I don't think I have that in here. Being fast and slow. Yeah, so that's one of the things I was sort of talking about earlier, is in a lot of dancier music, and this is where so for me, I personally don't view this song as a DJ track. It's not a straight up dance track. Of course, there's a lot of things that kind of suggest it to be a dance track, and this is one of them. So the kick, especially in this build up, is going. And then what happens, and I think this is what you're noticing, Croqueta, is you get this fast kind of thing to hype you up, and that's the thing that you get a lot in dance music. Like if this track was more of a pop track, it would probably have done this. I probably wouldn't have had the second chorus, and it would have gone from like.
It's strange, but I don't mind. I drive off the edge of the earth to kill time.
Yeah.
The storm's coming, you better get running. Wherever I am, I'm starting up.
Yeah, I'd probably do this. And this is a lot more of a pop decision where you just kind of go straight to it. Like Dreamland. Dreamland kind of does this.
Storm's coming, you better get running. Wherever I am, I'm starting up something like that.
There was a version that did this for a while.
I do it like that. Like that.
Like maybe if it becomes like a pop tune, like it would do that. Starting up something like that. Like that's a much more poppy decision to do. But yeah, so what we do have is we use the chorus as a build up to the drop.
And all told, I got too bold. Heart of gold. No, I do it like that.
Yeah, you get the idea. But the thing is those sort of choices in conjunction with songwriting, I think, is something that makes my tracks what they are, and I don't shy away from that, and I like the fact that that's what I Don't forget about the vocal file. Yeah, let's do the vocal file now. See if I can find it. You know, I'm gonna have a quick look through my shit down here. Like that vocal project, probably called. Is it track 174? Yes, it is. It just felt correct for it. I tried 172 and it felt a little slow. Like that. Is it in here? Do I still have that vocal project? I'm sure I do. I'm sure I do somewhere. Is it in here then? I can't find it. Let me check. Let me search again. 174 second best tempo, 172 best tempo. All right, so I have found the vocal project file. So I'm going to show you roughly how my writing process works, I guess. And so usually, there was actually a version which I'll play first. Oh, wow, comping. Mega comping. Wait, is this? Let me see. I don't think this is the project file that I'm looking for, unless it is.
We're all screwed up.
Yeah, okay. Ah, shit, this isn't the one I was looking for. I don't think. Damn. Let's just have a listen. Where is everything? Let's unmute everything.
For a sweet surf season when I arrive, it won't be pretty. From Moscow to the great
Did I just delete that?
So I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul.
So these are all the individual. These are all the individual layers. So we got the.
I reckon in 21 seconds.
It's all just here.
Still stressing.
Yeah, it's all just here. This isn't the one I was looking for. There must be another one somewhere. Is it this one? No. Damn, that's a real shame. Basically, there's a project file somewhere. I should have looked for this. I know where the other two are. But yeah, there's a version of this project file. It must be older at this point. It must have been a first vocal session, and that one is the second vocal session. Usually I like to separate those two things out, just so I'm doing just the vocal and making it as good as I can be without worrying, this looks like it could be it. This is where I wrote the track. This is, I don't know if this is going to be that great. Oh no, this looks like the same thing. So I wrote to this.
Born slippy, so look busy. Young scumbag, got the keys to the city. I'm knee-jerking, black coffee slurping. We're all screwed up, but the world's still turning. I hug my demons, I fist bump.
So the point here, is that the vocal is able to tell the whole story without any changes. It's already taking you up, which is what the arrangement wants to do. So you're doing that on purpose with just the vocal.
So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold, heart of gold, no. The storm's coming, you better get running wherever I am.
I don't know why that's there. This is a bad vocal take in there.
Blizzards, my best friends are Illuminati.
Oh yeah, old lyric. Fucking wrong thing. So yeah, my point was anyway about kind of being able to tell, because so humans, we all generally love vocals. Even if you're someone who really likes instrumental music, a good vocal is something that's kind of universal, I think. And so if you're able to bring people along and tell them exactly what you need them to know without actually having the arrangement change with just the vocal, any arrangement changes are going to be multiplied twofold or tenfold by what you do. Yeah. It's a funny thing. Do we have anything different in here?
Choose your battles and make them mean something. Sing great songs, keep your heartbeat bumping. When all else
I don't think this is the final take.
let go. A tinfoil hat does more than
All right. Well, that's that. Are there any questions you guys have that are about the last project file, like the more like arrangement, decision-y kind of stuff? Because if not, we can start teching out. The vocoder carrier, I don't remember. We'll find that out probably. Probably just saws or squares or saws with noise or distorted saws is usually what I go for. The inspiration just came from the very, very original, like the original sketch, which I think I played earlier. I think it's in here. Wait, no, it should be in media, right? Surely. No, project file. Being an idiot today. Damn it, Stan. So yeah, the original inspiration was literally just me fucking around with some drum hits and stuff. Like, just it ended up being this. That was the original. Do I use auto-tune? Sometimes, yeah. It's dance music. You can't be too naturalistic about dance music, sadly. Did the song finish similarly? Yeah, it did. It's kind of what I wanted it to be. There are a lot of ideas thrown around. I'm going to quickly play through the track while I go to the bathroom.
In 21 seconds, I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold. Heart of gold, no, I do it like that. Like that. I do it like that. Wizards, Hollywood blizzards, cheating at cards with Illuminati lizards. From Indiana out to Valhalla, they know my name cause nobody does it better, yeah. It's strange but I don't mind. I drive off the edge of the earth to kill time. The storm's coming, you better get running. Wherever I am, I'm starting up something. I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold. Heart of gold, no, I do it like that.
Yeah!
Like that.
Okay, I'm back. So, anybody got any burning questions about the song? Sorry, kind of kill the vibe there. Get comfy. Inspired by Stephen King initially, but like I did take a lot of liberties. It's like not fully like just ripped off. I already talked about the lyrics today. Why did I decide on a switch up for the third drop? I didn't want to hear it the third time. By the time it got to the end, it was like, it kind of felt that, you know, if we, we won't do that right now. Maybe we'll do that another time. But like, if you just put it together in a way like, so that it goes from the last drop into the last build up into the first drop and then ends like that, it does feel a little bit like it's a letdown. Yeah. Burning question, is the pre-shadow synth and the badass bassline patch and the guitar processing? Huh? I feel like half that sentence is missing. Yeah, we'll do like synthesis and stuff. Right now, I'm just kind of wanting more generalized question for anybody who's like not a producer. Self-recorded guitar, put through an amp. Self-recorded guitar, yes. That's all. That'll all be in the other project file. I'm pretty sure I sliced it up a lot. You know, I'm just gonna really quickly refill my water, so I'll just play from where we were.
Like that. Like that. You gotta choose your battles and make them mean something. Sing great songs, keep that heartbeat bumping. When all else fails and you can't let go, a tinfoil hat does more than you know.
No mosh pit for you guys. No, it's lecturing and analysis today. Yeah, so the lyrics in general were just kind of like this little world I created for myself. It's not there's not a huge meaning behind them that much in this one. It's more just kind of cool imagery that I liked. Did I consider not doing a drop? No. Fox Stevenson's chair donation. Thank you, chair. I appreciate you. Yeah, did I consider not doing a drop? I considered not doing a chorus, but I kind of showed you that already. Yeah, I considered just like skipping out the build-ups, like so.
Hug my demons, I fist bump Jesus. I thank Poseidon for a sweet surf season. When I arrive, it won't be pretty. From Moscow to the great Mississippi, like that.
I did consider that for a while. I mean, like, it's not completely perfect because it's just like a jump cut. But yeah, that was something I considered for a while. Yeah. I think that's crumpets or bagels. Fuck, that's a hard one. I have more bagels generally. So I think bagels. I think bagels actually. I think that I'm pretty convinced on that one. Yeah, it would sound cool, but like, yeah, you'd be missing out on the kind of like the sort of like the fun of having a breakdown and build up. I think that's kind of it for ideas and stuff. There's like there's lots of little tricks in here, like deliberately on the second chorus having
paid my price but learned no lesson.
Having those shouts kind of refreshes it because it doesn't feel like you're hearing exactly the same thing again. That really helps kind of keep the track fresh. You know, making sure that the things are the same but different, I guess, a second times around. The drop, obviously, the second time around has to pull back for a bar.
Like that.
Yeah, I think that's it. When I decided it was going to be good enough to release, what happens is I make tracks to about 80 to 90% complete. And then when there's a deadline, it's just like, okay, what things do I need to fix between now and that deadline? And I just fix them. And then probably give myself 2 days, listen back to it. And if I don't hear any more problems, I leave it. That's usually how it goes. Hey, thank you, Give Me Rupees, for the Prime subscription. Yeah. What else have we got to talk about here? I think that's it. Maybe we go to the original project file and we start talking about the technical decisions that shaped these parts. What I'll do real quick is I'll get rid of. I'll show you just the drums and the bass in this last bit because I think that's something people would want to hear.
Like that.
Matthijs VR, thank you so much.
I do it like that. Like that.
Sounds like a fucking Marky tune or something. If I take out my vocal. I really like that. I've never soloed it like this.
Paid my price, but learned no lesson.
What's the hidden gem in this track? I really like that. Maybe I'll make a VIP that does that. Hidden gem in this project file. I think my favorite thing in this track is just the relationship between these two things personally.
So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold, heart of gold, no.
I like that harmony a lot. And, you know, it's not really hidden. The hidden gem, I think, is the rhythm, actually. But I already showed you guys that earlier. For anybody who's joined since then, I'll quickly reiterate that. The lead on the leads, like that thing, is really, really late. And if it wasn't so late, it would sound boring and not fun. So this is how it would sound if it was on time. Oh, it's horrible. Just can't listen to it. That's fucked. Ugh. Gotta play the full? Yeah, let's just play the full thing, and then we'll go to the other project file. Ah!
Born slippy, so look busy.
That's a little fun little Easter egg. Me souling out.
Oh, yeah. Born slippy, so look busy. Young scumbag.
I think I could have done a better job on the last drop. The last drop, I think, could be better. Like, I don't know exactly how to do it. I just wish I had. I wish I had like a month to just like leave it and then come back to it and hear everything wrong with it.
I arrive, it won't be pretty. From Moscow to the great Mississippi, so
the record label didn't have a huge amount to say about the record.
Straight to the heavens.
Yeah, generally this is all my decisions.
Guessing, paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul, so weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold, heart of gold. No, I do it like that. Like that.
No, if I was gonna do a VIP, I'd use like the go like D&B patch, and I'd just be like like really heavy. Play full but mute the vocals. Sure, we'll mute the vocals for the rest. Unless you're trying to rip an instrumental. That's not cool. Also, my fly's undone. But yeah, this is how the track sounds. You guys have to sing the lyrics in the chat. That's what we'll do. Now, I don't mind people releasing remakes to the public. As long as you're not trying to make money off it, I think that's technically illegal, and I'm not the sole copyright holder, so it's not just up to me. Do I have a... I don't release instrumental versions. I'm not trying to be just a producer. I'm trying to be an artist, like a vocal singing songwriting artist. And if I start releasing instrumentals, that sends the wrong message. Cool. Right, so I'm not telling anybody to go anywhere, but we are going to probably be getting a little bit techier now. So let's get into the nitty gritty of that. That one is called Minim Other Melody Restructure. Can I release? No, I'm not going to release instrumentals, guys. It's just not what I'm about. Like, it's just not who I am. Tinfoil on the inside of my hat. I can guarantee you that there is. Ikari Project, what did he say? I wouldn't say that's passive aggressive. Yeah, I mean, like I struggle with the same thing when mixing. Like you gotta find it right. But it's, you know what's really cool is sometimes when you get a mix between two vocal and melodic tracks, and then it suddenly feels like you've actually added a new second verse with another song. I think that shit's really cool. I think the vocals on this are the old ones.
Born Slippy.
They're not the old ones. All right, so now we're in the creation project, like the fabrication. The fabrication part of it. So it was going to sound a little different because that was like a final mix down. It's a little bit more aggressively mixed. What I will say is I know that this verse sounds incredibly lo-fi. Right?
I'm knee jerking, like coffee slurping. We're all screwed up, but the world's still turning. I hug my demons, I fist bump Jesus.
Oh, that's an interesting choice.
For a sweet surf season when I arrive, it won't be pretty. From Moscow to the Great Mississippi, so I reckon in 21 seconds.
So often what I'll do is I'll mix around a vocal guide track. So this is actually literally just one audio file that's the whole vocal.
I reckon.
Because it's going to take up that space, and then as soon as you start cleaning that up, you're cleaning up the space that you've carved for yourself anyway.
I reckon.
So the process, because some people are kind of confused about this. The process goes that I end up making all the sounds perfect to, well, not perfect, but like as good as I can to mix together, and then I export them to audio, and that I don't take I do take any reverbs off them. That's the only thing I do. Everything else just gets exported as is. So for example, but I do group things too. So like I think these are all the guitars. So like I'll group that together. Probably not the bass. Yeah, that's the stem I had. So guitars sit here. So I'll put them into one audio file and then mix all of those things together. The snares all get put down to one thing. It starts basically meaning that you're mixing the sounds and not the elements of the sounds. And that's really important, I think, because if the track already sounds good, then then you're only going to make good decisions if you've got stuff that already adds up to be something good. So you just make them sound better. That's how it works for me. I don't know if that'll work for everybody. I will say it's a whole thing. Right.
Like that.
The bit everybody's interested in.
I do it like that.
Oh, it sounds really different. Way different to how I thought it would. Let's just let's get a thingy. Megascope. What do I do to the vocals after recording? So my vocal process is pretty simple. Generally, like are these processed? I don't think they are properly. I think they're already doing. So vocals, I'll go into that vocal project again in a bit and like show you everything that goes onto a dry vocal. But generally speaking, it's EQ into compression, into dynamic EQ, into maybe compression again. I'm not sure. Maybe some saturation, and then delays. Yeah. My camera's too low? What are you saying? So why I feel okay, so OV Music, I've seen that question that you've been asking, and I'll finally answer it because we're in here. First part of that question, I would say, first response to that question is wide. I don't think wide things get lost. I think wide things get pushed forward really heavily. If you're using choruses and things, then you do start getting phasing, which does pull things back. But wide, just wide, not like unison or anything like that, does mean that you yeah. Oh yeah, it is slightly offset from my overlay, but I don't care right now. Yeah, I noticed that. It's fine. Yeah, so wide, I wouldn't say is an issue of pushing things back. I think wide is you make something unstable and it stops being something that is easy to kind of grasp to the listener, which is why generally you'd want shorter things to be really wide sometimes, just so they kind of jump out and then come back away. Because if things are wide all the time, it gets a bit hard. So the lead sound is made up of a couple layers. So what we got, I think it's 2 layers. Yes, these 2 layers. So layer number 1. So that is a resampled ping pong delayed sine wave. So all it would take to make this is this. Let me do this real quick. I'll show you. It's super simple. So, right. So we want to, let's just use that note for now. I'm not going to just use the same sample. So let's no plugin, plugin. So let's just get like a sine wave. So yeah, I don't know where I actually saved the original one of these, so I'm just going to have to remake it, which is not a problem. That with some EQ. With like a peak. The sine wave's a little long. So then all it is a, I don't know if it was this delay because I don't think I had this at the time, but you can totally, I like this delay more. Ping pong. So that's bouncing in each ear, it's very short. Basically that. So deliberately added peaks to it, like where is it? This, like anything here, something weird like that. Doesn't really matter what. If I export that out, let's compress it just so it sounds a bit more fucking mad. Whoa, that's loud. Sorry. Yeah. I think this is like less clean than I would want it to be, actually. Yeah. Like that kind of thing. So if we turn that just into a one shot. Let's go with wait, where's all my shit? It's in Stan and then all hits because I made a little, yeah. One shots. Synth one shots. Not like that. So you've got something like that, and what you do is you can just literally sample that directly into Serum or something. Synth one shots. Turn all that off. Put this in. Wait, where is it? Not like that. Wait, what? Yeah, there it is. Put that in there. All right, yeah, that's not key tracking right now. That's all it is. Yeah. This isn't actually the Dirty Phonics skin. This one's called that Fire by Anthracite. They've got a load of ones that are all kind of similar, different colors, just like dark with a color. And I use this one when I'm on planes because it's really easy to see. In like a bright place or something. So yeah, that's roughly how the thing was made. Obviously, I was kind of rushing that, so it didn't come out exactly how it is. So it's that one of those. You hear it; it's basically the same thing. It's actually, this is less percussive than the one I did use. I mean, no, than the one I just made. Then one of these. I think this might be a sample. Yes, it is. So yeah, it's just that. It's just like really heavily enveloped, really short. Right? I don't like the Feed Me skin that much, to be honest. So yeah, these two things are just fed into a sausage fattener. If I take that out, it's all in the EQ. All in the EQ. So I think I just took out like a little bit of that and then distort it, which gives you the thing. What is it? The attack. Because because here, I'll show you. If I get out this oscilloscope, it's incredibly dynamic. Like way more dynamic than you want it to be. So what I'm doing is I'm squashing it really hard with sausage fattener, and it like cuts all of that off, and that's where you get the high end from because it's distorting, but only for a tiny amount of time because it's a clipper. I mean, like you can go heavier with it, but you know we don't. We didn't. Which sample is what? This is, I don't know, it's probably something kind of boring. Just that. I don't know how to like get to whatever sample that was. Just yeah, you can make that. You can totally make that. Wait, let me get rid of the actual stuff on it. Like the sample sounds like this. You could just make that with like a square wave turning into a sine wave really fast. So you get that tiny bit of like high end at the beginning and then putting reverb on it and then resampling that. That'll get you to what roughly where you want to be. And it's the reverb on that you're just cutting off and then feeding into those things. Right, so we got the kick and snare, which are literally just fucking Kirk Knight samples. I was deliberately using like hip hoppy samples. We also have this rim over the top, I believe. It's just those two samples together. Hey, Mikey, don't make me play you stuff just so you can sample it. That's a bit disingenuous. Bass and kick. Right, so the bass. I believe these are actually just 808 808s sampled 808 samples I pulled off Splice. We got that's the main one, I think. Yeah, it's just an 808 off Splice, and this one might just be another one. Yeah, it is. So it's just those two over each other, and I think oh, they go both. They go to the stereo and the thing. That's interesting. Wait, let me work out the routing here. Oh, okay. I realize what I've done now. Okay, that's fine. So here's what how it works. These two are both being sent to a saturator on the side, so they kind of have some common ground. Because without that, you kind of hear the two different 808s over each other. And I think I spent a load of time making sure that they were in phase with each other or some shit, or maybe I didn't. So yeah, those two things. Let's have a look at how this actually comes together, because this is going to be. I think this is going to be really cool for people. Let's do that and that. Let's turn this down. So the sub sits just beneath 0. Oh no, it's quite quiet. Right. And the kick goes in very loud. Have you noticed that that's not being sidechained? You just push the kick way through the limiter because it looks like this. And you're just pushing it out. You're pushing out the sub with the fact that the limiter's having to duck the kick. Or it's not even a limiter, it's a clipper. Like, if you wanted to get really aggro with this, which you totally could, you could literally do this. Wait, no, not that much, not that much. There you go. It's just flat. And you could throw the kick really loud through that. Like if you gain the kick loads, you end up getting kind of like much more of a trap sound, and that's not a bad thing. All right, yeah, this is why I don't use sausage fattener anymore, because it actually has like a release time. You'd be better I would have done a better job with this track if I'd realized this. But if you use Fab Filter, I think gentle saturation, it's just completely instantaneous, which is good. All right, let's bring that up. Yeah, that's what you want. Yeah, indeed. Hey, thank you, Akari Project. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's much more what I would have wanted. I think I may have done that in the end, in the mixing project. But yeah, look, you just throw your kick really loud into a saturator with your sub, let the sub stay clean, and it just pushes it out. Big tings. I'm just gonna let that play for a second because I'm kind of happy with how that shit works. So yeah, you have to do it with a short kick though. Otherwise it will sound like ass. So yeah, let's go back to how it was. No gain on that, and this has been. I think I've just turned up the sausage fat in loads, haven't I? No, I turned up the bass. No, something like that. Fuck it, it's cool. Yeah, that sounds fine. That's it. That's the drop. That's how it works. No, it's not technically sidechaining, because sidechaining is when a plugin is reacting to is reading one thing and acting on another. So like it reads the information of one thing to affect this other sound. That is not it. You know, that's not what it's doing. It's just saturating the two things together. It's soup. It's just a connection or a thing. I will say this doesn't always work. Well, no, it always works in terms of like creating space for each other, but mixing through it can be really hard. Like this works because the track kind of wants that sort of warmed up tone. It wants that warmed up kind of angry thing, but it's not always going to be the right call for a mix down. It's the right call for this mix down, in my opinion. Guitars. Let's go to the guitars. They're around somewhere.
I hug my demons, I fist bumped.
Right, so we've got 3 guitar parts. Oh no, that's a bass guitar. This is very, very affected. Let's see how this sounded dry. I'm guessing shit would be my guess. This is me playing a little bass line. Pitch corrected because it was slightly out of tune. So I've auto-tuned the bass. What else? EQ. This is back when I used Pro Q2, not Pro Q3. Soothed. That's doing so much work. That's doing so much work. Multi-banded to get just the attack in that. Oh no, fuck, I didn't use that in the end. What I will have been going for is getting the attack off like the kind of fret noises, but it ended up being that I probably did some stuff later on, like. So I don't know why, but since the update, Logic really doesn't like Little Altar Boy. It just doesn't show me the numbers anymore. Whoa, that was weird. And then, yeah, this is why I will have got rid of the Pro MB. This is just eighths, and it's like shaping the top end like this, but like in the middle. And then probably gentle saturation. Oh no. So I've warmed the top a little bit, apparently, and then quite a lot on the bottom, just to kind of, the reason I will have done this is to get this kind of nice and in line, because I'm guessing if I didn't do that, yeah, like all the notes are like different to each other, and we want it to be like completely like flat. I mean, we could do that, but doesn't sound as good. Hey, thank you for coming by, Croquetta. I appreciate it. So that's how. So actually, this is a point of pride. The low end in the The low end in the verses is actually me playing a bass guitar. That's kind of cool. I'd forgotten that fact. So then we mirrored this same thing with a real guitar. Oh no, I think that's I think that's the same line, but not pitched, performance shifted down. Sorry, that word completely escaped me. So actually it's a bass guitar. Got some, yeah. Dispersed though. Get that kind of flappy thing to it. How long did it take to do these adjustments? I'm not sure. Probably not super long, just because it's just a case of listening to it and being like, oh, that jumps out as being quite nice. I'll go with that. Guitar is just... probably only played each of those chords once and just sampled it for regularity. Disperser makes things zappy, is the best way to think about it. You know what? I'm 80% sure I added I think I added a frequency bump, like a big push at, what is it? G sharp. That. Let's see. Hey, where is it? G sharp. So the reason that is probably because I played guitar badly and you couldn't hear that note very well. Yeah, it just sounds like a power chord. Hey, Mo Fox in here. How's it going, man? We're going down over my new single. That's what it's doing. It's adding those notes into the guitar, and that's before the guitar amp. So it's kind of becoming a note that crushes with it. Then that just has gain reduction on it. There's some not natural, but like already existing reverb in that guitar tone. So yeah. Right. So.
I'm me jerking black coffee.
Wow, it's lost all control. I think I did something changed, but yeah.
Black coffee slurping, we're all screwed up, but the world's still turning up.
I'm gonna revert to saved. How's everyone doing from Mo Folk's channel? You guys feeling nice and fruity today? I hope so. So yeah, I released a new song on Friday. And we're going through the project files, and yeah, that's what we're doing. Right. So after it loads up, we'll get into more things. I'm trying to work out what else there is to show to do with this project file. Yeah. So we done. I'm kind of sad that we have kind of talked about the whole crushing thing, because like that. Here, I'll show you guys how it sounds in the sides as well. Hey, thank you very much, Mo. I appreciate it, man. The badass bass line patch at the end. I don't know if I did that in this project file. I think I might have done that later. Let's see. So it's kind of there, but oh no, that's the sample. Where's the bass sound? Pretty sure it's in audio. I made it in audio.
Like that.
Maybe not. Where is it? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I think that's literally just going to be distortions. Yeah. It's the same 808 from earlier, and then I think I'm riding it into it's just distortion being turned up as it goes, as it falls in pitch. That's it. Just distortion automation. Oh, that badass little patch. I like that one. Where is it? I think it's this one. Pretty sure that's just... That will have been a saw at some point, and okay, so this is something I do quite a lot, actually. So I'll have like a saw wave, and I'll just like take stuff out of it while it's in a distortion. I think you guys have seen me do that before. It's just that. With the new updates, Logic is the best DAW. I don't know why everyone's so hyped on the new Logic update. There's stuff missing from it for me still. Like, the thing I hate most that I really wish they'd fixed in this update is if you pitch up a sample. Hey, thank you, Sir LaJosh. Greetings, everyone. Yeah, the thing I hate most about Logic at the moment, and I thought they were going to fix it in this update, is if you pitch up a sample, like this, for example, you can go in here. You can just, nope, wrong one. Where is it? Not track, region, Jesus. You can, so I do know my way around Logic a little bit, I promise. So you pitch it up, say. And it does pitch it up. It does it with a repitching algorithm, which is nice, and it's literally just made it play faster, which makes it play higher. What I hate about it is the fact that it hasn't changed the overview in any way, shape, or form. Like on, off. It's exactly the same shape. In theory, especially with this sound, because there's some fucking silence at the beginning, you should see this just kind of go like to here or whatever, just a little bit, you know. But no, it gives you the exact same fucking overview, and it makes me sick. All right. Cool. Turn off time stretching. No, that's not, that doesn't do that. That doesn't change anything, man. Like, if you turn off time stretching, it just literally doesn't transpose it. You turn off time stretching, if you change the algorithm, the only way to get it to do that is by using speed effects, but you can't transpose using speed effects. You have to do it manually by hand. So like so how long is this? Yeah, so the exact thing you'd want is this. And you have to stretch it by hand yourself. That's what it should look like after about 12 semitones of transposition. Yeah, Ableton totally does that better. Completely. It's shit. It's absolute shit. And the other day, I mean, we're not talking about the track anymore, but it doesn't matter. The other day, I deliberately, like, what I did is I did a pitched up version that was 12 semitones up using speed algorithm, and used the other algorithms and pitched them up. And they do use this nice speed algorithm, which is like a one-to-one conversion, as in if you squash how much time it plays all the vibrations of a sound, it goes up in pitch, and if you dilate it, it goes down in pitch. And I found out that actually they phase with each other. They are exactly the same. It just doesn't calculate the overview. Stupid. And I love Logic. Like, there's so many things about Logic that do shit on other DAWs, but pitching audio samples definitely ain't fucking one of them. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Logic isn't whack. It's just fucking weird.
So look busy, young scumbag, got the keys to the city. I'm knee-jerking, black coffee slurping.
Why not pitch stuff in Ableton? Oh, that takes too long. What they did just add recently, actually, which is kind of cool, is they added a quick sampler. So you can just drag an audio, if it fucking, yeah. Which is lovely, like the Ableton one. Which is cool. Or maybe you decide to use Logic, its mixer, and its latency calculations and things. There's a lot of things that are really cool about it, and also comping. Comping, not compression. Comping is incredibly important for me because I record vocals on a lot of real instruments. What comping is where you record. Here, I'll quickly show you. Wait. It's really cool. Like, so, what input is my current mic? So input 4, not a mono channel. Let's just record something real quick here. Like, this doesn't matter. So I'll just go la 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 lee 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 lee. Right. So madness and mayhem. But comping is where you record two things over each other or in the same area. So this is great for recording vocals or guitar takes. Let you say you've got a lead line you want to record or a vocal you want to record. You can do this basically. It's called swipe comping. So you have the la 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 lee 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 lee. So imagine that, like you've got 3 or 4 or more vocal takes, right? And there's like one bit where one take is kind of shit and the other one isn't. And like that, the other one kills it in that section, but the first part is killed by the first one, right? So what you do is you just choose which words are in each one or whatever, and like, or if it's a guitar line or anything, it's super important for recorded music. Comping is amazing, and it's an incredibly important tool for anybody who records. Ableton's incredible at fabrication. No doubt about that, but it doesn't have comping, and that's a big problem for me.
Young scumbag, got the keys to the city. I'm knee jerking, black coffee slurping. We're all screwed up, but the world's still turning. I hug my demons, I fist bump Jesus.
So questions. Let's. You guys ask me some shit. I'll tell you how I did it. Here's that bongo line. So it's actually made up of four different things. Yeah, well, big studios all bought shitloads of Avid gear, so they kind of just have to use it. Buster, I don't know. Do you want to message the dudes and find out? If you just throw something in Discord, I'm sure they'll be like, yay or nay. So is this the same sample? Yeah, this is the same sample, but because it's like, there's like part of it that's really hard panned. I actually ended up like making 2 different versions of the same beat that go in each ear. So like, which is kind of cool. Fun little detail. And that's underneath. Reminds me of Abe's Odyssey. Yeah. In it. That synth that pre-shadows melody in the verse, that synth which plays the little melody in the beginning, those organs and that hype the stuff in the last drop. Yeah, they do. They all return at the end. Here, I'll show you. So yeah, we've got all of the kind of like the last elements, like the fucking super saw. Wow, this is way drier than it used to be. What's the sound design of the... Wait, I'll read all these in a second. So, yeah, all of the sounds that were in the intro and all the other places, they do all just show up in the drop at the end, which I think is a good way of kind of making people feel like it was always going to happen. You got all these. Yeah. No. And so you've got like the extra elements underneath the leads. How did I make all of those sounds? That's a very long answered question. What's the sound design of the filtered intro lead thing? Oh, that one's pretty simple. I'll show you that in a moment. So I'll quickly kind of sum up roughly how all these sounds were made, because fuck it. So this one. So it's 2 mono synths. I think it's just, yeah, square wave and that plus some reverb, I imagine. Yep, reverb and a compressor, delays. And on the mod wheel we have... So as it opens up, it gets modulated asymmetrically more. Yeah, you get the idea. Did I ever lose faith? No, I didn't. I didn't care, to be completely honest. Or at least I don't think I cared. And I could be misremembering because it's really easy to look back on those times and think that you were just, that there was no hardship. But generally, I do believe, and I do think that 80% of my time making music and doing those things was just because I love it. And I still love it equally as much. It's still the thing that I will do by choice if you put me down in front of my computer. Buster and the people I usually play games with will tell you at the moment, like, they've been hearing a lot less of me on Discord because I'm just literally making music from fucking the moment I wake up to like midnight. Like, that's what I'm doing. That's what I do. It's what I love, and it's why I'm here. And I'm not saying that it's why I'm successful, but it's why I'm still making music. Because it's really easy to get fucking bogged down by this stuff. And like, genuinely, I think that you have to want it that much to have any chance at being successful long term. And that's a weird thing. Like, because there are people who've made a track and then everyone's fucking loved it. And then they've disappeared because actually they don't want to keep making loads of music. They don't want to tour. They don't want to not sleep. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah. What do I do when a song sounds like shit and it's not popping out enough? I either leave it or I work really hard at trying to fix it. That's it. Like, you know, and it not popping out and being cool is something that's you know, going to be a different problem for each one. The Voyagers Fog Stevenson collab in your life. That's old as shit, man. That's as old as Hoo Ha. We never finished that. It was cool, but it was, yeah, I don't know. It just never felt right to me, that track. And I think the same to them. Raw Sizer. It's obviously very hard for me to know exactly how to fix that problem without hearing the actual elements. But usually, if there's an element that just isn't coming to the front, no matter how you EQ it or how you push it, or if you just turn it up, it just sounds like it's out of place. It's usually EQ, or something is too stereo or not stereo enough. Generally, what I would say actually, and this is something that I kind of realized is how I think recently. And it's cool because I'm kind of able to put a name to certain techniques, and they're basically when it comes to mixing down something, there are three ways you can mix something down, or two elements together, and you can use any amount of three of these, but you do need to do it to a certain degree. So it's kind of like you mix in 3 dimensions. There is spectrum, like as in the frequency of the sounds. And if you have 2 sounds that are going to occupy the same frequency, then you'll need to do one of the other 2 things, and that is time. So you need to make sure that they don't exist at the exact same moment as something else, and that kind of comes with phase as well. That kind of phase is that umbrella as well. Time or side chaining is that too, because it'll push something away the time when something's in there, right? And you've also got stereo, and that's the other one. Yeah, that's it. So like you can sidechain something away, you can EQ something around it by making cuts in frequency to let something live there, or you can put them in one in the middle, one more on the sides. That way you can hear those 2 things together. But that's it. That's generally how I think of mixing. Like, so yeah. Okay, so mid-side EQing, people like everyone does this differently. So this is only my take on it. So don't take this as gospel. But actually, I don't mid-side EQ all that much. It's more of a problem-solving thing. or if I am doing it, I'm doing it in a way that is quite simple. So, for example, I might just like take the sides out of the lows, or take the sides out of the top, or take the sides out of the mid, or take the mids out of the middle. So like, that's actually a really cool one. If you want to have like if you want to have something that's like really, really wide, but you also want to like really full spectrum and really wide. Here, I'll show you. Let's do it with with the same MIDI of the track, because it'll be fun. So I'll put this here, and we'll just make some fucking wide super saws, right? Ah, horrible. Bad drums is one of the first things that always makes a track sound weak. Bad drums. Something a lot of people do that it can be a problem is they've got their chords too low and they're like crunched up. Like this actually sounds a bit like that. Like if you get rid of that, it's a lot cleaner. No. So this is nice and mono right now, but like let's say we fucking go all the way to So, one way you can make room for stuff with sounds like this is we don't want top end on those. Like, all that top end is noise. That's just noise. You don't want top end in things like that, unless you're going to have very minimal top end. Oh, thank you for the gift sub, Ikari. So yeah, like, I would low cut this. And maybe if you're going to have a lead synth, you might want to do this. Throws it way to the sides, and so like you'd put like let's oh shit, let's get like a lead sound. So these are actually these are in a very similar frequency range, but we can make them stand out from each other very easily. So I'm going to make this one really mono. Go on. So I'm just going to be like. So one thing is to make sure these sounds are a little different from each other. But first things first, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of so the high cut's going to go away. And we're going to bring this mid back up. And you know what we'll do? We'll do the exact opposite with the sides. Fuck it. Chances, I think this will work. So we'll just unison it once. And then we'll make it a square wave, right? Those are the only decisions we've made right now. Right. In theory, these things should just be nice together. It needs a little EQ. So it seems like the actual melody is happening a little further down than I'd anticipated. I'm moving this to here, moving this to over here. Maybe do this and do the opposite over here. It's not always just about doing the opposite. Like, this is only if you have two elements, like, and even with two elements, you don't have to do it exactly the same way. Like, you've got those two sounds, you can hear them totally fine now. Advice for when you want to work on music but you don't have no ideas, what should you do? Make a production decision before anything else. Be like, okay, I'm going to work on a track with tiny snares, or I'm going to work on a track that that is made entirely of noise and sine waves or something, and then it'll lead you somewhere. Like, you don't have to stay on that rule. As soon as you get inspiration, you can be like, fuck, okay, now I know what to do. But yeah, so, you know, that's some way that's frequency, and that's me using frequency and stereo to do that. So because we need those things to play over the top of each other, you do that. Or alternatively, we could take both these EQs off completely and slice this here like this, and then here like this. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, delete that. And then all we'll do is we'll delete that. And we'll bring this one back in, actually. So mixing in terms of time, frequency, and stereo placement. So now we have this. Not in time, but it doesn't fucking matter right now because it illustrates my point. Like, you hear both those things, they tell you the story of each of those sounds, and you know that those would be two very different tracks if you stem full productions from those two things. But they both mix, and you hear what you need to hear. That's the point. Yeah. Seem to have this problem where I need to sleep or something, but then I have super useful stuff from you. Oh, sleep, man, is good. I'll be back. How can I define bad drums? That's such a hard thing. I think you need to listen to a lot of music that you want to sound like to know what good drums sound like or don't. Like, often, actually, I will say mixdown affects drums more than anything else. Hey, no worries, Joe Visible. I'm really glad I'm able to help. I want people to know these techniques because they exist, and it's not like if you sit down at Logic or your DAW and you know all my techniques, you're going to make a track that I would make. Those two tracks would exist. You know, you're not going to make the same music as me, and I'm not going to make the same music as you. Like, and that's. I'm not saying better or worse or anything there. I'm just saying that everyone is their own person, and they've been informed by their own life of passively and actively listening to music. So your decisions are informed by a totally different background than mine. And mine are different to yours. And I'm only saying different. And I genuinely, it might sound, if it sounds like I'm trying to equivocate there and make a comparison, I'm not. I'm just saying that this literally, you have had a different life. Your decisions are going to be different to mine, to someone else's. That's how it is. Which is why, if you listen to only your own ideas, and like no one can fully do this, myself included, but only your own ideas that are not informed by any other like music that's out there or any label you want to be on or anything like that. If you listen to only the things you want to make, you will make music like nobody else. Exactly. Mikey's got it. I've ruined the project file again. I need to revert to saved. Also, I need the bathroom again, so I'll be 1 second. Say hi to the chair for me, yeah? Okay, I'm back. Art Gang Rise Up. What's happening? Chair donation. Lucan, hey, thank you for the gift sub. What happened? What happened? What did I miss? Why are there hearts now? I am stand. I have been stand. Thank you guys. Lovely people. What are we doing? What are we doing now? You guys got more questions about like that in particular? I know we kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah.
Like that.
I actually forgot. I'd actually forgotten that you can do that earlier on. The organs. The organ's a very cool one. The organ is a very cool little production trick that I do sometimes. I will show that momentarily. I did forget that you can do this though. Like if you modulate the asymmetrical thing and it gives you vibrato in a really strange way, like kind of cool. Oh, thank you, all of your viewers. How do I control my drum mix? Okay, so one thing that I don't do that I know that other people do, and I'm not saying that this is the correct way to do it, but what I do generally is I don't mix my drums as like a one thing unless it's an actual drum mix with mics and stuff, but that's a totally different thing. My drums are kind of separate entities. So like my hi-hats, I think of them as just kind of like part of my high end, and my kick and snare are things that take up time. My kicks and snares push through the mix as much as possible for their little moment.
Like that. I do it like that.
Yeah, I heard the doo-doo too.
Like that.
Doo-doo too.
That. Wizard.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna have hi-hats and things, you need to make sure there's high-end space for them. So like,
It's strange, but I don't mind.
wow, that's the old vocal. Is this a different?
Space wizards, Hollywood blizzards, cheating at cards.
No, it's the same one. So you might notice, especially with this track, if I low cut it, there's very little high end going on in the, like especially here. It's a really short high end. That means that once you allow the vocal to be there, it's all vocal. So you could substitute a vocal for a main lead sound or a bass sound or something. Like the most important element should kind of take your high end plus any rhythmic information. Everything else is kind of unimportant in the high end. It's just mid, like basically the way I think about the top and the bottom is actually the same. Is that you want to keep your tops and your low end. Sorry, wait, let's flip that for you guys. So your tops and your low end, they want to be mostly controlled by the time domain, in that you want things separate from each other in terms of time, and then the middle is just a case of finding a way to get everything to go together. Clear high end is one of those things that actually just completely fixes an entire mix, and I can actually. Should cut the high frequency out of anything in the mids that's not important and doesn't take up time? I think so. Like not as brutally as that, unless you want to. Like I definitely did that in Dreamland. Dreamland was a lot of high cutting, a lot, and then you just choose what you want to have in the highs. But like let's run with this for a second, because that'll be a cool thing to do. So let's go back to listening to the full high end. Let's get rid of the vocal as well. Let's just mix it as if there were going to be no vocal. Wait, let's pull that back up here. Hello? It won't let me. There we go. Fucking hell. It's kind of a hard one to do, actually, because it's already mixed. Because you can hear everything. You can hear the whole mix in a way. And then, so what I will actually do when I'm like coming to finalize tracks is I'll just listen to the highs, the mids, like the mids. By the mids, I mean the frequencies that are like notes and their harmonic information. So here. So you just want to be able to hear all the notes that are playing in the song. That's about it. Do I always put something else in the highs, like an area synth sound? Generally, I leave the highs to like the main element and the drums, generally. And obviously, it's not as clear cut as that. It never is. But that's generally how I think of it. Can I sing at your birthday party 4 months ago? I don't know if you remember, but I did. Oh, shit. Someone just highlighted a really long message. Send them as 2 messages, Super Smiley Gang. Gaming, sorry, Super Smiley Gaming. No, I don't want huge messages. I don't want huge messages. Like, it takes up loads of space and then I miss people's shit. Like, basically, you should be able to tell everything you want to know about the track in this frequency, or this frequency anyway. Everything lower than that is like accentation. So that's... So different frequencies, like fitting things into frequencies can be a bit of a tricky thing. Like there's a lot of like you have to first, before anything else, you have to know how to notice when there's a problem. And that's probably the hardest part, to be honest, is identifying issues with your mix as they happen and not just kind of ignoring them because you're adding things in. It feels like what we need to do after I find out if we're playing GTFO or not tonight. Yeah. Oh, I just got a message. That might be it. That might be. What'd he say? Can't tonight. Okay, sure. So no GTFO tonight, which means that in a little while we can disengage from like that, and I'll just make something, and I'll try and like illustrate the problems that you guys are talking about. So the problems, but okay, so not necessarily noticing the problems, but identifying what the problem is. Does anybody have any questions left about like that? Because I feel like we've kind of got off track here. The organ sounds, yes, thank you, Mikey. Okay, so you mean these ones, right?
Like that.
Wait. These ones. Oh, wrong one. So it's not actually an organ, it's serum. You may notice this looks really fucking weird. Yeah, I'll go into the thing. We'll go into the vocal project after this, and then we'll go into doing a load of stuff with the with just like problems and stuff. So this is actually a trick I do quite often. Let me put that up there and zoom out. Wow, I don't like that about this skin. That's kind of nasty. Anyway, so the first harmonic on this sound is actually really high. And the reason for that is if I take out all of these, you end up with something that actually sounds a lot more familiar. Right? So those are all naturally occurring harmonics. For like, because we could draw that from here, but we haven't. I'm adding sidebands that basically tie themselves to this very low frequency. Sounds kind of horrible. But then when you do that, you end up with a lot of movement and it becomes quite soft. Underneath that, I have this almost saw to kind of tie it back in. Some chorus. And then just shaping it, and then probably EQ. Yeah, I took out the low end, took out the high end. I left a little in. Didn't need to do that. Probably cut that in the mix project, I'll be honest. That's it.
Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that.
Cool. No, I don't make preset packs. I don't really make that many presets for myself. But I have made a couple presets for something that's coming out soon. Only a couple. Like see if I can find it. I have made a little. There's like a collaborative preset pack I've added in like how many? Like 6 sounds. Like what we got. I'll show you them now. We got this. Snare from me, a kick from me. Yeah, just some sounds. Can you explain that thing that plays in the melody in the last drop, which goes up super, super high and also plays chords? Yeah, that one's really simple. That one's quite analog-y in terms of how it was made. So it's this stuff here. That's just a super saw. With some reverb and some... And then this is probably the bit... Yeah, I know about the MIDI transform thing. Thank you, 3 Rick Music. Oh, Eric! Makes sense. And then it's just like, this is up top. Oh, Ableton, okay. All right, that should be better. Sorry about that. That happens. You know how it happens. I'll be in Prague in September if we're allowed. You know, I don't know. No one knows if that shit's going to go ahead. It's just some sampled breaks. It's like a think break, funky drummer break, hot pants break. Yeah. Those chords are just a Logic preset. I don't know about that. It's the Mellotron originally, for sure. So it's that. That's a kind of a preset. It's been fucked with a little bit. EQ and thingy, but it's also layered under with some of this. Very compressed. This is just like a little bit of unison. And then those things come together. Do I get sick of a project upon almost finishing it? Not really. I mean, if you're making positive progress all the time, then you never really get too bored of it. Like because you're always like making it sound better and better, so it's getting better and better to your ears. Like I feel like that's part of the process. No, I don't think there's such a thing as a Haas effect that's monocompatible. I think that by definition, a Haas effect is not monocompatible. All think is like there's a favorite think about it. Yeah, the first search think. Where is it? I have the break somewhere. That in there. Wait 1 second. Think is a famous drum break. So especially in drum and bass, sometimes dubstep, sometimes house, but mostly drum and bass, you have what are called like classic breaks, and they're like old, generally quite old funk recordings or soul recordings of drums, like where they would have things. Where is it? Should be. Oh yeah, big breaks. Think. Here it is. There's this sliced up. You've probably heard that before. Like there's loads of famous ones. The most famous one is the Amen break, which you've definitely heard if you... That's from a track called Amen Brother by the Winstons. Well, there's the Funky Drummer, which is one of my favorites. Is that from GTA San Andreas? No. It's in GTA San Andreas. It's older than that. It's from the 60s. That one, so good. A lot of James Brown, like a lot of James Brown. Oh, that's a good one. But yeah, so you know, just having a big folder of that. So yeah, the Amen break has been used in so many songs. There's loads of like lesser known ones. That one's cool. So I just slice those up. So all this is like 3 different ones of those. So it's the Think one, really fast. Funky Drummer, really processed. There's a Soothe on there. And Hot Pants, which is another one, which is a good one. The drummer never gets royalties. No, this is the thing. Is it kind of sucks. There's not really any. There's not really any. There's not really any like thing in place for that. Like, what do I declare those things? It's such a weird thing. Like, you know, if there was a way for it to be done right, then I would. But yeah, the original name, my favorite one, Funky Drummer by James Brown. Funky Drummer. There's a lot with the word funky in them. Oh.
Funky.
But yeah, what BPM is what in? The song? This song is 174. We can take it slower though. Okay, so what I will say, I'll reiterate before we go into the vocal processing, I will say one more time how important groove is. And I will show you very quickly again how ridiculously important the placing of these notes was. Right. So let me show you the MIDI for this real quick and show you how off-grid it all is. Right? Look at that. That's fucking so off-grid. So it sounds like this. Even the one that sounds like it's on beat isn't. This thing in particular, like the drop didn't take long at all. Probably took me about an hour. Like the full song, because it's got so much nuance to like the different little changes, took a really long time. I don't know exactly how many hours in project though. Cool. So. Let's quantize this. And I want to show you what it's like if this was completely on grid. Because I've already shown you that, but like I was only moving it. Let's put it fully on grid. Just do this. Because there's 2 notes over each other. Oh God, it's horrible. It's horrible. So don't quantize everything, please. Please, don't quantize everything. You're missing out on a whole other dimension of groove.
I do it like that. Like that. I do it like that.
Horrible. Right. Vocal processing. No, it's like when it comes to stuff like that okay, so what I will say is going off grid, you have to be very specific about exactly where the notes are. Like you have to really feel it. You have to kind of know what you're going for to a degree. And so you just add, you just fuck with it. fuck with it until it grooves really hard, and that's how we go. Cool. So vocal processing. I'll quickly take you through that. So let me just remove bypassed effects plugin, and remove empty insert slots just to tidy that up a little bit. So.
Born slippy, so look busy. Young scumbag got the keys
So this is actually really dry. I think I probably deliberately left this quite dry to make it be usable in the final mix. So I ended up just kind of making it sound good as opposed to finished. I don't know. So
Born slippy.
So here's me dry on the mic.
Young scumbag got the keys to the city.
So first things we do is EQ. I probably added high end and took out mids. Yeah, the mic I use is slightly lively on the lows. So like if we go back to flat,
Born slippy.
Just a bit too much low mid. So I do take a little bit of that out. Then compress.
Born slippy. So look,
gets that nice and smoothed out.
Got the keys to the city. I'm knee jerking, black coffee.
Then some dynamic EQ.
Born slippy.
So this pushes down,
so busy, young
and this, you know, this pushes it down when it gets a bit too loud.
Knee jerking, black coffee.
Then I'm apparently distorting it slightly.
So look busy, young scumbag got the keys to the city. I'm
probably because it was that lo-fi vibe I was going for. I'm pretty sure I'm crushing the. Oh wow, that's not what I expected to see.
Born slippy, so look busy. Young scumbag got the keys to the city. I'm
cool. So I'm basically keeping the low mids in check there, and then low cutting it to get rid of any of the low end fluff, and then just a little extra thing. So that's actually a really simple little vocal chain there.
Born slippy, so look busy. Young scumbag got the keys to the city.
Yeah, and that's the comping. Like, so these are all the takes that eventually became this.
Keys to the city. I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to.
Oh wait, that's not the one I thought it was. Okay, so the chorus vocal is actually the same, and then we're just adding to it. So we've got all the vocoders, which seem to not be working. What's going on here? Bus 4. So we need to have that playing.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price.
How much does mic quality and room quality matter in terms of a vocal sound? I don't know. Well, I do know. Obviously, the better the room and the better the mic, the better results you'll get. But I think the most important thing is that you're not getting a shitload of bounce back out of your room. So like you need to make sure that the mic isn't picking up loads of reverb that already exists, because you want to be able to add that or not have that by choice. Because if you start compressing after that, you start bringing all those things up. I think that's really important. You can EQ past a bad mic a lot of the time, but like you will lose presence if you're just having to EQ all the time. Yeah. What I'd say. So here's the vocoders.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the
pretty simple. Most of the hype comes from the doubles, which are here.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight.
These are the high ones.
Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price, but
so that's me singing very high, very pitch corrected. Same again, but like things. So what's happening here is two of these are panned very hard right, two of these are panned very hard left, and then that means that there's like a nice difference between your doubles, and your lead sits in the middle and unifies them.
I reckon in 21 seconds I'm about to blow this thing straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing.
I write the lyrics and the music kind of together. They're all choices that inform each other. And then we've got, what's this? So this is the same. This is just stuff pitched down. And then the really important part for this vocal, in my opinion, is that harmony. I think that it really lifts the things.
I second in 21 seconds.
Where's the
I'm about to
instrumental?
roll
Let me
this
mute
thing
it.
straight to the heavens. Still stressing, still second guessing. Paid my price but learned no lesson. So cold, my heavyweight soul. So weighed down by the things that I know. All told, I got too bold. Heart of gold, no. So cold, my heavyweight soul. So weighed down by the things that I know. And all told, I got too bold. Heart of gold, no.
Yeah, there we go. And that's how it goes.